Now, for the keynote speech, it is our highest privilege to invite on stage the gentleman who has led ACE Institute of Management for the past 26 years and continues to lead us with incredible grace and impact. The Principal and Director of ACE Institute of Management, Dr. Ashish Tiwari. Sir, please.
Thank you, Ankur. Thank you, Ria. Respected faculty members, distinguished guests, proud parents and family, dear colleagues, and above all, the graduating students, welcome to the celebration of achievements and possibilities of tomorrow. Today, we honor not only the degrees that you have earned, but we honor the hard work, the resilience, the curiosity, and the convictions that you carried here. As we step out of ACE Institute of Management today and move ahead, I wish you the very best. Congratulations, and once again, all the very best in everything that you do, all the endeavors that you take from here. Go ahead, write your own stories of success, each story shaped by choices that are rooted in enduring values and energized by the freshest thinking of time. The most important people, my colleagues, my faculty members, you are the pillars of ACE, and I offer you my congratulations on a task well done. I hold deepest of gratitude to these wonderful people who work with this wonderful group of students year after year, and what we see here tonight is a culmination of your hard work that you have done with this wonderful group of people. So a round of applause for our wonderful, wonderful faculty members. Your mentorship, your feedback, and the belief. And you have not only shaped the minds, but you have shaped character. Thank you so much. To the proud parents and family members, your sacrifices and steady encouragement has been the foundation of every graduate success. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of big applause for the parents and family members. And now to the most important people of the evening, the proud graduates. Congratulations on persisting through challenges, seizing opportunities, and standing proud before us this evening. You are the stars of the evening, dear graduating students. You have worked hard, you have persevered through challenges, and overcome obstacles to arrive here today. Your resilience has been nothing short of inspiring. I bear testimony to all the hard work that you have put in. I have seen you working hard. I have seen you working in the classrooms, outside the classrooms, collaborating with your classmates, with the faculty members, and I bear testimony to all the hard work that you have put in to arriving till here. I can't help but feel incredibly proud to be here, witnessing a great moment of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, give a really big round of applause to our graduating students. You deserve this. As I stand here, I'm reminded of the privilege that it has been to witness the growth and transformation of every cohort of students at ACE for the last 26 years. And as Ankur, you mentioned that it's been 26 years with ACE, I suddenly feel I'm really old, or rather ancient. But it has been an amazing journey of growth and transformation and learning for me myself. Learning with, working with, and learning with each cohort of students at ACE, I think I have become a much, much better person by the contribution of learning that I have acquired through the contributions of all the graduates that have ever been a part of ACE. With each graduating class, my admiration for your tenacity and commitment grows. This is not just a celebration of your academic success, but a celebration of the strength of the character and determination you have demonstrated throughout your time here. It fills me with immense pride to see our alumni network growing, and ACE now boasts over 7,500 alumni members, individuals who have gone out into the world and have made their mark. This is a testament to the quality of education at ACE, and I believe that you too will join them and will continue to shape the future of our society, our nation, and the world. The ACE fraternity is growing, and I'm deeply grateful to those who have contributed to this journey, including students, faculty, and our alumni. Dear graduates, today as we celebrate the culmination of your academic endeavors, I'm also aware that this is just the beginning of your journey. The world that lies beyond these walls is vast, complex, ever-changing, and uncertain. But rest assured, you are more than prepared to face it. As you move ahead, please remember that true success is not measured by titles and accolades. And I'm saying this after 26 years of professional career. I have come to realize that there will come a time in career when you'll realize that true success is definitely not measured by the titles you hold or the accolades that you have got, but it is defined by the impact that you have had on the world and the lives that you touch. As you step out of ACE Institute of Management, I encourage you to lead with compassion, integrity, and a sense of responsibility. Now coming to the most important part of the keynote address. I know keynote addresses are boring, full of cliched advice. And as I was reflecting yesterday upon, I was traveling for the last 2 days and I did not get much time to actually sit down and put in the amount of time as I would have loved to put in writing a keynote address. And when I sat down to write, and then suddenly every time I sit down to write a keynote address, I realized that over the years, I have been delivering a keynote address year after year, semester after semester. And I suddenly felt that I have run out of ideas, actually. What do I say? Everything I thought I would say felt so cliched. And every word that I tried to put down, it seemed like it will be a repetition of what I have already said before. And then I thought that maybe what I should do is I should reflect back on my own life and as an academic, as a professional, and I should see that if I was graduating today, what advice should I give to the younger me, to the young me, if I was graduating today, and if I had the privilege to advise my younger self who was graduating today, with all the wisdom, with all the knowledge, with all the experience that I have over these years. The first one, and I call it the 8 pillars. The 8 pillars of probably, if I may take the liberty of saying that I qualify to give this advice only because of the virtue that I was born a few years younger than the graduating students, and I have the privilege of having that experience, and that, I think, qualifies me to give you that advice. So looking back on my life, the first one, I think, which is extremely important, and the 8 pillars, as I said, the first pillar, is about lifelong learning. And I always keep saying this, I love to say this, I'll say this once again. Many of you, when I interacted with you during the orientation, when I interacted with you in the classroom, outside, in the corridor, in the lawn, in the cafeteria, you must have heard me saying, and I say this once more as you graduate today, don't forget that your learning doesn't end today, and that learning is a lifelong process. You graduate today, you stop here for a while, you pat your back, good job done, but then you move ahead. And please do remember that all of us, we remain lifelong learners in the school of life. What is extremely important to accept with lots of humility that we only know this much and there is so much more to learn. And it really doesn't matter from whom the learning comes, from where the learning comes. What is more important, or what is most important, is that we remain open to learning from new experiences. And I will substantiate this with facts. I was reading a report yesterday, and it says that the half-life of skills is shrinking. The half-life is becoming really short. And by 2030, 70% of the skills used in most jobs will have changed. And they will be driven largely by AI and digital transformation. We are already seeing this. And I would love to quote Alvin Toffler, who once said that illiterates of the 21st century will not be those people who cannot read or write, but illiterates of the 21st century will be those people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So the idea is to keep learning. The idea is to make sure that we keep on acquiring new knowledge and accepting the fact with lots of humility that we will never know enough, or we will never learn enough. One life is not enough. Let me tell you this. So my advice, set quarterly goals for learning. Set monthly goals for learning, whatever suits you. Master new tools. Read a book. Complete an online course. But make sure, get hold of a mentor. But make sure that you're learning. Every other day you need to question, every other day which passes without a new learning is a day wasted. So every day you need to ask, what is that something new that I have learned today? And your proactive upskilling will keep you ahead as the roles evolve, as the world evolves, because knowledge becomes obsolete as the reality, as the world outside changes. So we need to keep, or sometimes what happens when we are looking at the world, and if the world appears clouded, sometimes it is very important to, rather than blaming that things are changing very fast outside, rather than blaming that the world appears clouded to me, the simplest thing you can do is take the glasses and clean them, because the world appears clouded not because the world is clouded and hazy. It's just because the lens through which you are looking at the world is clouded. So my first advice is about lifelong learning. And I urge you, and I also wish you all the best that you remain lifelong learners in the school of life. My first advice. The second one is about collaborative learning. You must have been, and we as teachers, every day we are challenged by the fact that students are using artificial intelligence platforms to do their assignments, copy their assignments rather, and lots of challenges. And now I should give an advice about this, is that we know it is a reality that we are going to survive side-by-side artificial intelligence in the days to come. There's no denying that. So the idea would be, my advice would be what I have come to realize, and also reading about what the future is going to look like. My advice would be to learn how to collaborate and partner ethically with artificial intelligence. Partnering and collaboration ethically with artificial intelligence is going to be the skill for tomorrow. And that's my thought. And it will be, if you go and read, it will be substantiated by lots of research that has happened in that area. So I'll present you some facts. By 2030, it is predicted that generative AI could automate up to 30% of work hours, shifting, and every job which follows a linear pattern will be replaced by AI. So what do the humans do? So my advice would be that humans should shift to strategy and creative roles. Therefore, things like prompt engineering, bias detection, and responsible AI principles, and harnessing these tools ethically will amplify your impact rather than competing with the machines. We cannot compete. So the only option we have is that we have to start to learn collaborating ethically with artificial intelligence platforms. That is one advice which I thought will be relevant in today's context. The third one, very important, and I am a die-hard believer of this particular principle of professional success. As you are stepping into your new roles, into professional lives, dear students, I urge you that you reflect and know what are your values and what are the values that you would want to stand for no matter what. Because from my experience, I believe that values are something that gives us our character. They are like our anchors. If we are not anchored deep in our values, every other smallest distraction in the environment can blow us off our feet, can blow us from our course. Decision making will become very difficult if you're not grounded very strongly in our values. So hence my advice would be that we should spend time on reflecting, finding out what are my values, what is that I would want to stand up for, and make sure that every time you're making a decision, your decisions are influenced and guided by your guiding principles or the values. Values are something that gives us character, and if you have heard the concept of personal branding, without getting into personal branding, for me, personal branding, creating a personal brand is very simple as having very strong, clear set of your own values. If you have your own values, it will give you that character, it will give you that unique identity, and it will create your own personal brand. So I urge you, know what your values are. And whenever you make a decision, just pause to ask, does this align with my values? This simple check prevents what I call ethical drift and reinforces your personal brand. So if you don't want to drift ethically, and if you want to establish a unique brand and an identity for yourself, please make sure that you know your values and you stand by them. My third advice. The fourth one, now I'll move a little fast. And before I started my speech today, I was telling that I have been a very indisciplined speaker. I never keep within the time limit. And I avoid going, when I'm invited as a guest speaker, I avoid going to those places where they give me a time limit. And Shubhanjan, right there, being one of the official members of a Toastmasters Club, every time the Toastmasters Club invite me as a guest speaker, and when they start raising the yellow and the red flags, I get very uncomfortable because I'm trying to get into the habit of becoming a disciplined speaker and keeping to time. But today I will make sure that I have been allowed half an hour and I keep into half an hour. The fourth one is inspired by this. Many of you must have read the book called Atomic Habits. And it actually aligns with what has been my belief and experience. Simple, excellence is not a one-time act. Excellence comes through very small sum of the small things. It is a sum of daily disciplines, what I call. Very simple things like punctuality, regularity, getting up in time. If you're supposed to reach somewhere, reaching there in time. If you're supposed to get up. So disciplining life. And you don't need to go to a business school to learn that. These are very simple things. So meeting deadlines, punctuality, regularity, so the small disciplines. And these are extremely important. Why? Because the small, you don't have to wait for something big to happen. The small things or the improvements that you make that can actually lead to amazing results in due course of time. And quoting James Clear from Atomic Habits, he says that even if you improve 1% daily, we are 37 times better by the end of the year. So it has to be small marginal increments that really matter. And common wisdom, you must have heard that drops fill oceans, and same applies to good habits, and the same applies to bad habits. The small bad habits that we neglect, you don't even know when they become toxic. By the time you realize they have become toxic, and it is almost impossible to get out of them. The fifth one is my advice about please invest in developing critical and creative thinking. I'm not getting into what is critical thinking, but as the routine tasks become increasingly automated, human ingenuity critical thinking, framing the right questions, imagining novel solutions, they become invaluable. All the more in the days to come. And I was reading a report, the World Economic Forum ranks complex problem solving and creative thinking among the top skills for 2028-29. So please invest in critical thinking. And as you know, we used to say that information is power, and every information is available at the click of a button. But now, humanity is at more threat. Why? Because it is becoming increasingly, we have to understand that every information that comes to us is not necessarily the truth. And hence, it is becoming increasingly important for humans to be able to distinguish between every information that is being thrown at us, whether it is true or whether it is not true, to be able to distinguish between. Sometimes you must have seen forwards, without even doing critical thinking and without even checking the validity of some information that has just been sent, people blindly tend to believe. And as we start getting more and more information, it is extremely important for humans to keep cultivating critical thinking so that we develop the capacity to distinguish between what is true and what is not true. And we decide about which narratives we would want to believe and which narratives we would not want to believe. Now we are almost there, so the next one is, and the most important one. Most of the times we are so busy looking at others that we hardly get to meeting others, that we hardly get time to meet ourselves and to reflect. Where is the time to meet ourselves? So this advice is about finding out some time every day for reflection. And by that, it's very simple. We call it the unfilled moments, These days, we are so occupied, we hardly get bored, we hardly have any unfilled moments. There is so many platforms, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's, you name it. And there are chatbots. We hardly get any time to sit down and reflect. So it is extremely important for every one of us that we find some time to detach ourselves and have some unfilled moments in our lives. Having some white space for reflection. And this deliberate white space, by that I mean unstructured time, without screens, without anything. Some unstructured time to get bored. Some unstructured time to just reflect. And I love these lines. I keep reciting every now and then because I so love it. The poet, Hindi poet Harivansh Rai Bachchan, there's a poem called Jeevan Ki Apadhapi Mein. I will translate, I will narrate, I will recite it in Hindi and then I will translate it for the audience in English. It says, जीवन की आपाधापी में कब वक्त मिला कुछ देर कहीं पर बैठ कभी यह सोच सकूं जो किया कहा माना उसमें क्या बुरा भला. It means, in the rush of life, when did I ever get any time to sit down and think and reflect that what I said, what I did, what I believed, whether it is right or whether it is wrong. So the idea is that each one of us, my advice would be, we should be able to find out some unfilled moments, some time where we can sit down and when we can reflect what I did, what I thought, what I believe. Is it right? Is it wrong? So that's something which I think is extremely, extremely important, because, and it has been established. There are many studies which reveal that, I will quote these studies, will reveal that scheduled breaks, silent walks, simply just sitting down and doing nothing can actually, blocking some time for reflection every day, can actually enhance our problem-solving performance by 40% if it is done on a consistent basis. So this is something, and there's some evidence for you to think about it. And finally, I don't know how I'm doing on time. Um, and finally, final advice, and then I close this keynote address. The final advice, my observation these days is that somehow we are losing the power of human conversations. And especially Gen Z, they would rather pick up the phone and text someone than to have a conversation. And hence we see there are problems of social anxiety, there are problems of not being able to engage in rewarding and meaningful conversations face to face. And I see there has been a digital erosion of human conversations. And digital erosion is sometimes, I don't know how many of you have, but my colleagues would agree that not only in assignments, but sometimes these days you receive emails from people which are generated by the bot. And we're reading that email, you don't see that human emotion because, I don't know if I'm very fond of movies, and when you saw the old days movies, when somebody was reading a letter, they would show the face of the person appear within that letter, right? The person who had written the letter, the face would appear, and it is a representation of, it is not a piece of paper or simple words. It is the emotion, it is what is written, what is not written. But when you delegate the task of writing a piece of email for you, those emotions are not captured there. The AI still doesn't have feelings. I don't know what will happen tomorrow when AI starts to have feelings, but AI doesn't still have feelings. So when you delegate the task of writing an email on your behalf to the bot, to the AI, and when the email arrives to the intended recipient or to me, I know that it's the bot, it's not you. Because I know how you talk, I know how you speak, I know the kind of words you use. Right? My colleagues with whom I have worked for the last 20 years, I know exactly how they speak. I know exactly the kind of words and I can sometimes I have received a text, and rather than responding back in text, I have picked up the phone, I have called people, I have said that, and right now I remember a recent incident. Sonsar is there, and I walked out of a meeting. There was a text which came. I walked out of the meeting. I said that I did not feel quite comfortable responding in text. I would rather have a conversation with you and explain, because no text will be able to explain the conversation that I could actually have with you. So my advice would be that please make an effort to reclaim human conversations that we are losing. You see, friends have gathered over. They say that we have not met for such a long time. Let's meet. And when they meet, you see, it's a common sight to see friends. They have come on a get-together. Everybody is on a phone. People are busy. People are not living the moment. People are not living the moment when they are enjoying a moment. People are rather, busy clicking a video where you're not living the moment. I mean, the idea is to live in that moment, enjoy that moment, right? I know, because this moment is never going to be repeated. 10th May, today's 10th May, right? So 10th May evening, 6 o'clock, 2025, it is never going to be repeated in history, ever. So there cannot be a more important moment than this one, because it is never going to be repeated in history. So why not live that moment? So my idea is, my advice is, let's start as far as possible as you step out. Please don't forget the value of human conversations. Let not erode the power of human conversations by digital conversations. And let's start reclaiming human conversations. If you get an opportunity, engage in face-to-face conversations. Rather than texting on WhatsApp, rather than wishing somebody birthday on WhatsApp, it is better to pick up the phone and say happy birthday. You will be reaching out lesser number of people, but you'll be reaching out, you'll make quality connections. My advice, you can decide whether that makes sense or not. But in this digital age, authentic face-to-face dialogue is a rare superpower, in my words. It's a rare superpower. And if you can actually harness that superpower, I'm telling you, it is going to take you places. So my advice, engage in meaningful conversations, listen actively, ask questions, and let genuine curiosity guide you. My final advice, I think I have, and this came as a reflection. I could have asked, again, the AI to write a great speech for me. But I said I will do a mediocre speech rather than doing a great AI speech. I would rather talk my heart out than to make a perfect speech. Because I think the only relationship my relationship is defined by a very emotional thread that connects me with all my students and my graduates and my colleagues at ACE, is that human connect. And I still believe that I would want to keep it alive because that has worked for me all these years. And based on my experience, because it has worked for me, I can extrapolate and say that probably it might also work for you if you try. We arrive at the end of this short speech of mine. I have one more page, which was the formal part. Whatever I spoke was not written, but there's one more page of formal part, but I'll not read it. I'll not read it. I'd rather let the heart speak. I may fall short of words, but let me use emotions and the human feelings to express the next part. Dear graduates, it has been a wonderful journey together. I am extremely honored and grateful to each one of you for trusting us and walking this journey with us. And I'm also grateful to you for providing me with an opportunity to learn from each one of you. And working with you, I know I'm a better person. ACE is a much better place today than when you joined 1.5, 2 years back because of your contributions. Thank you so much for contributing. Thank you so much for making this institution what it is. And as you move ahead in your journeys, I wish you all the best. I wish you lots of happiness and success as you move ahead. Shine. And please make sure that we are only a phone call away. I did not say a text away. We are only a phone call away. If you have your success stories to share, please do come and share with us, because nothing makes us happier than to hear success stories of our graduates. So, congratulations once again, and wish you all the best. Thank you.